Benetton B194 Schumacher was driving went on to allow him to win the World Drivers' Championship later that year.
Folks, welcome to race number 5, if I get that right, of the Bwoah Racing League Season 7. Of course, a new setting with both Davin and me up front on your screens. Of course, it's a work in progress. We're bringing back a lot of what was happening in Season 4, and hopefully we'll be able to improve over time. But Davin, how are you feeling?
I love to come back to Spain, so you can say I'm totally not in pain here because this is the first track that got me into sim racing. I can't stop saying about that in every commentary that we have about Spain, so I'm gonna probably keep yapping about it this season and next season.
Okay, alright. Yeah, excited to get in. Of course, usually we go through the track and strategy and whatnot, a brief introduction ahead of race number 5 about the track, about the drivers, and what the state of the competition is. But today, we're already in the qualifying session. We've started a bit late, so folks who've been waiting, thank you very much for your patience. We'll be heading straight into quali after all, so we can pretty much jump in. You caught a glimpse of anything at all, Davin?
Anything at all? Yeah, if anything, there's no intermediates running right on board here, so maybe, just maybe, suggesting it some rain. I don't know. I'm just throwing speculations around.
Okay,
well,
early retirement.
That's one thing that we don't have to speculate. That's an retirement there, yeah, by Gauds. Into turn 3 here. I'm not sure if we can get a ride on board with whoever's going on track. We can probably ride on board with NV and C. Where Gauds might have crashed. I suspect it's probably hitting the wall on the exit here. Oh yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, an early retirement is not something you want to see, and clearly starting off not in the strongest of senses for Gauds around Spain. I'm pretty much for him, I'm pretty sure he'd be looking to do some sort of damage limitation heading into the race itself. But first set of lap times coming through from the likes of KDP, 1 minute 13.718. Now, last time we were in Spain, I don't remember the statistics one bit. I know for a fact we've had less entertaining races that have been lukewarm in the past. I'd like to think the fact that the chicane's been removed, and this is probably the first time we're having a race around Spain with the absence of the chicane, or probably the second time in the absence of the chicane at this venue.
This would be the first, I think.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that aids in giving us some great racing action. What do you think?
Oh, it is definitely. With that chicane being removed out of the way, it makes it so much more flowing in the last sector. And the high speed corners, the last 2 corners, which are pretty much flat out kings here, almost flat out on the last corner, some might argue. And this makes you arrive into turn 1 with a lot more top speed. So, which also makes it a lot easier to line up and overtake onto the pit straight alone. So it's going to be interesting to see who has the top speed to survive on the straights or even to attack on the straights, or who's going to go for the downforce approach around here to pull the gap in the middle sector. As we have seen, both approaches are viable from leagues around the world, and personal experience as well. I go for the downforce approach around here.
All right. Okay. So clearly, as you would have actually noticed if you come through for Bwoah Racing League over the last couple seasons, our man Davin is quite the sim racing driver behind the wheel, and that goes to show he brings that much of knowledge into the comms works, as you'd expect from a sim racing driver of his caliber. Mind you, some of these drivers out on track, dare I say, have gone the distance and even in some sense trained with, if not under, Dalvin. I know you were almost a personal sim racing trainer of sorts for Sicknick specifically, and the fact that you had that tiny stint with him aided in him improving in terms of pace is evident in this league for sure.
Exactly. Well, he's not exactly in the murk as we were 2 seasons back. I think he's been doing good elsewhere as well. So I guess he got a good contract elsewhere and he moved on, leaving the nest and got a top seat in Red Bull. Yeah, but good to see him setting the lap early on with that 12.2, and immediately it was beaten by Envy with 11.8. Nevertheless, I'd say there's still probably a second left in these drivers here. Maybe I'd say 11.111. Maybe it's full 7/10 improvement for the best lap time. Saying that, Levi Tigerpan smashes it out of the way with an 11.5 as his banker lap here.
Yeah, already said lap times coming through from some of these drivers. Still an abundant amount of time left in short qualifying session. For those of you tuning in, apologies for the abrupt late start, essentially. Missing out on a lot of details heading into Bwoah Racing League as a whole. This is race number 5 if you haven't heard already. And it is the Spanish GP of the 7th edition of the Bwoah Racing League. 7th season so far. And we've got about 10 drivers out on track or edging out of the pits onto the track. With one retirement already, it's just 9 drivers. But of course, short qualifying is 18 minutes for each driver to set a lap time to finalize their spot on the grid ahead of the race itself. It's going to be a 50% race distance race, and you can assure, or you can put your money on anything that will be filled with some sim racing action. Time and time again, with the absence or with the presence of a safety car, it's been absolutely stellar.
Yeah, exactly. And right around here, if you get a safety car at the right time, you might just be in advantage in terms of strategy. Then again, we can throw the strategy question out of the window just a little bit here, because the medium and hard tires perform almost similarly. So some might argue they want to go for that good old league race strategy of hard to mediums, whereas some might say let's just go for medium to hards. Both, like I said, are equally good around here, given that Spain is a very high downforce, high load circuit, and either way could work. It's just a matter of staying on track, like you said, first of all.
Matter of staying on track is one to clearly remember, if anything. Even if you think back to the last couple of races we had this season, even we've seen drivers struggle heading into turn 1, if not later into the race, and the likes of even Horning struggling to keep it on track. Fumbles and tiny mistakes cost you quite a bit of time, throw you off onto the grass, onto the gravel. Will cost you quite a bit in terms of overall the race itself, your finishing position. And of course, we've seen this pattern of sorts where the back markers specifically have enormous gaps between each other. Despite that, if you do find yourself heading into the wall or almost gone into the wall itself, it's going to cost you quite a bit of time, as you'd assume or even see in time. But yeah, forget the badgering. We got less than 10 minutes left into short qualifying, and we've been on board KDB. I don't know who you've been spying out on track, Dalvin.
Well, I guess we read each other's mind.
There we go.
I was on KDB as well, so he improved 1 full second from his previous best. So that's a good second run that he's gone here, but he still has quite a way to go if he's anywhere close to challenging for pole, let alone the top 3 today.
And challenging for the top 3 is something I'm pretty sure he'll want to do. He's been having not the greatest of races, considering even though he did find himself on the podium, qualifying seems to be his Achilles heel of sorts. We've not seen him on pole position yet. It's been a while since we've seen KDB on the pole position. He'd love to, I'm sure, as would any driver, but he seemingly is heading into the pits. He's had a good run in the last couple of minutes, I'd assume. The lap time to beat, which we might have just missed, is Levi Tigerpants a while ago, 1 minute 11.562, with just over 8 minutes left to short qualifying. Mr. Wex seemingly is doing considerably well in these early parts of qualifying. He's had not the greatest of races with disconnections recently.
Yeah, but if you put that apart, I think that 4/10 of an improvement is pretty good, considering it's just right around the middle of the session now, and the track is starting to ramp up, and he's finding a bit of confidence here. Puts him up into P5, just nudging ahead of KDB for just over a tenth there. Still quite a big gap there, 4/10 if he wants to get any closer to Sicknick, who he's sharing with the third row right now. Maybe a position or two might just be possible here.
Yeah, hopefully he can get that position or two, but right now, as it stands, it does seem like he's on a fast lap of his own, Mr. Wex. So I'm going to stay on board, but he's lost time out of Sector 2 already, so I don't think he's going for that fast lap. Of course, a couple of the other drivers out on track, Envy and Big Man Joe. Now, these two drivers, Davin, and folks watching even, if you've missed our first couple of races, these two have been the championship protagonists in some sense, clearly. Big Man Joe coming out of the gate into Season 7, winning those two races. Envy following suit as well on race number 3. Of course, it's slipping my mind what unraveled in race number 4. Levi Tiger Pants ended up winning, but it does seem like Big Man Joe and Envy, they have quite the fight, and Levi Tiger Pants, as long as the internet and the game is kind to him, he's gonna have a good time out on track. What do you think about the championship fight heading into Season 7?
Early days, but with 4 races in, you could see who's on form, who's hitting the track right in the right form, and getting some luck on their part as well. I think it's going to be important. So right now, I'd say Envy and Big Man Joe, like we have seen in the early parts of the season, are your favorites. But Levi Tiger Pants could mount a challenge here, especially with the race performance he has shown last time out in France. And saying that, would you look at that? Levi Tiger Pants still keeps his pole position. Envy couldn't come close. Only 1,000 though.
Only
1,000. They'll make a very good side-by-side comparison if we ever get both of their onboards. But wow, 1,000. That's just a difference between a paper line between those two tires here.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful to see. Not even the final runs in this qualifying session, but pretty early runs in this session so far, and it goes to show there's clearly the same level of competitiveness in the front, right? And I like to think Big Man Joe's sitting in the pits right now, looking at these lap times from Levi Tiger Pants and Envy, and saying to himself, okay, like I think I can match them, if not beat them at the very least. And we'll see him coming out in time. But yeah, I've been going on about this for a while now. While we do have quite the situation at the back of the pack between Leroy Jenkins, Horning, and Mr. Wex being, enormously off pace, as such to say. But the midfield has been quite competitive, close to each other. We've seen time and time again, and in the front as well.
Yeah, and that's what I'd say makes it spicy usually for the last step of the podium. Even the top two, the last 2 steps of the podium sometimes. You have the odd days where Andy just runs away with the race lead and finishes 30 seconds ahead of everyone. Max. But yeah, P2, P3 is always up for contention, especially if one of these top runners here make a mistake, and you can see how a mistake can go punished quite harshly around here, especially with the lack of safety cars at certain times. Levi Tiger Pants across the line, there you go. Defends his pole position, goes up to 11.4 right now. Still somewhat about 3/10 off my prediction here, but I suppose that's a little ambitious target from me.
Yeah, I've been riding on board Sicknick, and the wreck kicked out quite a bit into the entry of Sector 2. That's going to cost him a fast lap, which he had just begun. And I'm going to jump back onto KDB, who is on a fast lap as well, and is entering Sector 2.
Backed off, and KDB, he's the next one to go then, I guess. Oh, he's backed off, looks like it. Or it's just the engine revs are a little bit slow for me.
Oh,
yeah, he's
no.
backed off. He's 2.6 off. So they're all cooling off probably for another run at the end here.
I wonder how the folk, the drivers at the back. Oh, someone spun? That's KDB.
KDB. Just a little cheeky sideways action there on the way into the pits. Speaking of which, there's a horrible bump on the racing line into the pit lane, which I'm pretty sure the drivers would have learned in one way or another, probably the hard way, and that if you take that normal racing line into the pit lane, you might just get bumped into the track, into the wall, and that's going to be a race-ending collision with the wall. So one solution, I guess, they just cut the inside of the pit lane just to avoid that horrible bump and I hope we don't see that happening in the race though. It's gonna be comical to watch on board, but I'm pretty sure the drivers would not love it when they ride over the bump and hit straight into the wall there.
Yeah, I hope not as well, considering I think we got a glimpse of Danny encountering the same. He just got the car right before he went into the wall in time into the pits. So we'll be hoping not to see the same. I'm on board Envy right now, and that is slow, extremely slow, almost parked on the line, on the racing line. Aston Martin of Mr. Wex, who's on an outlap himself.
Yep, getting out of the way nicely for Leroy Jenkins, who is not improving on his best lap time here so far. He is running out of juice already into the last two corners. That's probably not going to help him in any way to gain some more lap time. Ooh, quite a bit of understeer there for Leroy into the last corner, so not exactly a good outing in qualifying for him. I'd say he'll be happy to call it off for now and enjoy the P9 while he's still maintaining a front wing here.
So 2 minutes left, just under 2 minutes left to short qualifying, and we've seen the quickest lap time from Levi Tiger Pants, our most recent race winner. Stellar stuff from him around Paul Ricard. He'll be looking to replicate that around Circuit D, Barcelona-Catalunya. I could have gotten that wrong. Regardless, to upset him is Envy and Big Man Joe. We always do.
Yeah, I always get confused. Is it Barcelona first or is it Catalunya first? I'll just call it Spain. That's all.
Fair.
And all right, now coming to the crunch time here in qualifying, short qualifying session. Envy now into the middle sector. He's still 110 down on his personal best. That will still put him safely in P2. How much can he find in these last two corners here? Not much probably. It's all about the exit of that last two corners. And no, he runs extremely wide, trying to push the limits. He will keep the P2 for now. Levi Tiger Pants, he is on a lap coming soon. And he will probably be the one who, well, maintains his pole or steal it by even a bigger margin here.
Yeah, the last couple of minutes of short qualifying has always been a bit of... always had a bit of uncertainty that comes along with it. As much as we've been, talking about pole position going in the side of Levi Tiger Pants or Envy or Big Man Joe, those three drivers in specific. Let's not forget some of these drivers are not too far behind as well. Freeze and Sicknick are right up there. KDP, I think as much as he's not had good runs in qualifying, maybe, we see a result out from him. While Mr. Wex Horning and Leroy Jenkins would need some sort of a miracle, having been only beyond a second off of pace. We've got a retirement on track.
Was crashed out.
Yeah,
no, he's crashed coming out of turn 4, the Nico Rosberg and Hamilton corner. He's crashed out into the wall on the right hand side. That's, well, qualifying ending collision for him. He'll keep P4 though for now, but that means someone else like KDB or Sicknick might steal it. Sicknick though doesn't improve on his lap time, still 2 tenths down on his personal best, stays P5 for now.
Yeah, with qualifying ending the way it has, it looks like it is down to the top 3. Levi Tiger Pants, Envy and Big Man Joe to either reshuffle themselves up in the top 3 or something else. As I stay on board Levi, I see an Alpine completely off track, so that is the end of the session for Horning as well. Now, which one of these 3 are going to come out on top? That's the end of the session for Envy and Big Man Joe, evidently. So, they're going to stay P2 and P3, and Levi might have just spotted it, headed straight into the pits, came back out again on the grass and onto the track, but it was his pole to take, and it'll be his pole to start from as well.
Oh, that was creepy. Oh, not creepy, that was scary. And well, I'd say the wall is creepy in some sense, but yeah, I think he managed to keep it out of that wall in one way or another. Keeps his pole position as well, and that would be... Is this his first pole this season, Sarthak?
Nope. He was on pole position back in France, so he starts in pole position around Spain as well. So that is back-to-back pole positions for Levi Tiger Pants, which goes to show on a good day, when the game is kind and the internet is as well, we're going to see some of these drivers step up quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And as we wait for these cutscenes to, resolve themselves and we see the final results here, we have Levi Tiger Pants with a 1:11.468, taking pole position away from Envy, just under a tenth there. KDB and Big Man Joe sharing the second row. Freeze and Sickning will be sharing the third row here today. Mr. Vex and Horning on the fourth row. Leroy Jenkins, not exactly the best qualifying he's had. He will be P9. And Gubs, well, poor man didn't even get to set a lap time here. He will be starting at the back of the grid. I guess from there on it's only forward you could go, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. And as the drivers get ready for the race itself, strategy-wise and everything, I think it warrants a moment back in the comms box itself. So clearly, right now, as it stands, as you energize yourself with all the water, Davin, I'm pretty sure the drivers are doing something similar. Probably a good tangent to pick out is qualifying as stressful as some folks think in sim racing?
Oh, I love qualifying actually. It's the only time you get to push the car to the limit and find all that final 10th or 1000th. But yeah, it can be tricky, especially if it's a tight championship. You're fighting with someone, and track position might matter more at a certain track. I'd say, somewhere around Hungary and all those kind of tracks, yeah, it definitely matters a lot more. And here in Spain, I think it's a lot less stressful in that sense, where it's still, you're able to make some overtakes, but it's pretty close around here. And one mistake, as you saw in turn 4 or in any other corner here, and the car is going to go around. High downforce, that's the nature of the beast, right? It keeps you planted in the corners, but one wrong input and there you go. The rear steps out and you probably lose more than your front wing. Thankfully, we're in the sims though.
Yeah, and for those of you watching, make sure you drop in the chat any kind of predictions. I just brought it up considering I almost forgot. That was a pretty big thing in the last couple of seasons where we would drop a lot of predictions heading into the race. Of course, we've abolished that here in the comms box for multiple reasons, considering a lot of the drivers were unhappy with some of our jinxes, is all I'll say. So much so we don't even see UK anymore on track. Would you look at that, Davin? But the race is onwards. Take it away, Davin.
Yep, 5 laps coming on, and we'll wait just for them to go off, and it's a quick 5 laps, and away we go. Levi Tiger Pants up in P1, gets a good start here. NB right alongside him gets a considerably okay run as well. Big Man Joe is the one who's challenging KDB into turn 1. 3 wide almost into turn 1. Big Man Joe lunges on the inside. KDB around the outside. Who's going to come out ahead? Looks like KDB might have just nudged slightly ahead. Forces Big Man Joe onto the grass just for a little bit and defends that P3 for now.
Yeah, KDB, not a shy man to get his elbows out at the race start. He was on the grass as well. Half the car was on the grass. Almost tried to move on Envy. And that is an incident at the back of the pack.
Yeah, that's Horning going into the grass himself and possibly getting caught on the marbles and onto the grassy part of the circuit, and went for a little pirouette there. He's back on track though safely. Looks like no damage for him. That's good to see.
Yeah, without a doubt. You don't want an early retirement on lap number 1 of all things in a race like this one. Purple sector 2 for Levi Tiger Pants as he continues to lead this race. I'm surprised Envy had the bad start that he had. Clearly catching him off guard and race start is not a rare sight. Last time out, it was a similar situation of sorts. So maybe race starts is something he needs to work on. Despite that, at the end of lap 1, we got Levi Tiger Pants leading this race ahead of Envy, KDB who's made the jump up in at P3, Big Man Joe to follow, and Freeze to wrap up the top 5. Huge gaps opening up in the midfield, however, between Big Man Joe and Freeze. Over a second and a half, the gap between the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes.
Yeah, and I'd say that's a good reason for that. Would you look at that? Freeze, Sicknick, Mr. Vex, all on the hard tires, whereas Levi Tiger Pants, Envy and KDB in the top 3 are on the medium tires here, so they're gonna get the good pull away in the first few laps. Big Man Joe, wow, he's on the soft tires, so that explains his rapid start off the line, almost challenging KDB into turn 1, and he is immediately on the back of this top 3 already. So this is gonna be, once again, I'd say the battle of the tires, battle of the strategies. Who's gonna get lucky with, unforeseen circumstances? Let's say it that way. Before we get hit again. And yeah, it looks like the top 4 will be pulling away for considerable time here. Lap or 2, Freeze and Sicknick will have to start catching up sooner or later. The tires will be coming in clutch towards the end of lap 10 or 11, and there's a Ferrari going around. That is Gauts, who has lost it coming out of turn 10 into turn 11, and looks like he has a full front wing as well, so he'll be able to continue.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll be thanking the stars for that one as DRS gets enabled on lap number 3, and KDB has closed that gap of half a second to down to 3/10 of the front runners. Envy is edging closer as well, so a 4-way battle might just ensue up in front soon enough. Big Man Joe's not too far behind as well. He's got all 3 cars in sight ahead of him. So a battle for the race lead pretty early on in this race on lap number 3 is just what we want. We got 30 laps of racing left, folks. So any kind of predictions you got going, you might as well drop it in the chat, because now is a good time. Levi Tiger Pants leads this race ahead of Envy, KDB and Big Man Joe.
Yeah, I just want to chip in here and say Big Man Joe, he would have hoped for at least one position off the line there with those soft tires here. And that would, ideally put him being the third man or the second man in this DRS train. However, as you can see, well, I think he's being smart here, and the front 3 are taking their opportunity to get past each other. Big Man Joe might just pick them off here one by one, and if they start misbehaving out on track. And looks like KDB here gets around on Envy, pretty close on the exit here, almost touching wheels on the exit. And now Envy with the DRS, will he launch an attack on Levi Tiger Pants to defend against KDB? So turning defense into attack, and into turn 1, Envy down the inside takes the lead of the race for the first time in this race so far, but I don't think that's going to last too long. Levi will be back on the next lap. He's a bit squiggly though on the exit of turn 3, so a little bit of getting used to with this race performance. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not gonna go down without a fight, this man. Levi, he's won the most recent race, so clearly he's got everything going for him. Peeks around the outside, has to back off ahead of the corner. KDB breathing down his gearbox. What a sandwich to be in. A sandwich of champions here. Levi in between 2, and Big Man Joe carefully watching these 3 cars battle it out. Now KDB being the wiser driver of the ones in front at the very least, considering to open up that tiny bit of gap and patiently wait and leave Levi and Envy to battle it out up in front.
Yeah, and while this quartet, you would like to call it, were battling it out, Sicknick made a pass on Freeze and is starting to pull a gap against Freeze as well, possibly dragging Freeze up to the top 4 battle here. So the gaps are starting to stabilize here. The hard tires and medium tires, like I say, they have similar performance, although they are a compound harder or softer. And Sicknick might, if he plays his card well, he might just be doing it well. Up ahead though, Big Man Joe on the inside into turn 1, dives it down the inside and takes the position away. Bullies KDB out of the way. With those soft tires, KDB has to yield for now.
Yeah, we almost had a change of race lead as well. Almost, as I say that, Envy is closing in on Levi Tiger Pants once again. So that gap is opening up between this quartet you mentioned. Levi Tiger Pants and Envy almost edging towards being a second off of Big Man Joe and KDB. But right now it's still in the 7/10 range to Big Man Joe at the very least. So it'll be interesting to see in the next couple of laps where they stand in terms of gaps. Right now, however, even Envy has lifted his foot off the pedal by the looks of it, opening up half a second's gap to Levi Tiger Pants.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to follow around here, as we know Spain is it is a testing track, but for good reasons here. All the aerodynamic performance, it's tested around here, and if you have a good setup to follow another car, you might be able to follow quite easily in the second sector. Looks like Envy is not able to follow as closely, but look on the straight here. 8/10 was the gap here. He's going for it, and Big Man Joe once again, he's going aggressive. I think he's taken my advice quite seriously from last time out, going aggressive for the moves. He's forcing Envy to use his battery against Levi, so great move here, being the third man in the DRS train. He's playing his cards just right for now.
Yeah, like I mentioned in the past, clearly you've been quite the motivation for some of these drivers as they take your advice on more than one occasion. KDB is closing in on Big Man Joe as well, so it's not just Envy who's got his hands tied and will have to push. It's gonna be Big Man Joe as well, considering Big Man Joe's still on those soft tires. Of course, as you'd reckon, it's only lap number 6, but that battle at the back has not gone too far off either. Sicknick and Freeze still within 3/10, if not 4/10 between each other.
Yeah, it looks like Freeze might just be able to find some more pace here. That's the thing though, right? The DRS is super powerful around here, and even if you pull off a second's gap with just a little bit of battery usage, you might just get back in the DRS range. And once again, I think it's Envy's turn to go for a move, but no, he gets a poor exit. This invites Big Man Joe once again. He's going for it, but no, look at the top speed that Envy has. He's seemingly being able to defend a lot harder, but no, this time Big Man Joe on the inside goes for a double move almost around the inside, and that's a collision between Levi Tiger Pants and Big Man Joe, releases Envy into P1. Oh, just slightly miscalculated there by Big Man Joe.
Oh, so unfortunate. A battle turns sour for some. On lap number 7, Envy gets handed the race lead, and KDB has actually lost time to Envy. About 7 tenths now, but he'll be looking to close that gap. Back in the midfield, they slot themselves in, Levi Tiger Pants and Big Man Joe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Levi will not be happy with that, especially now he's forced to be in another DRS train, this time behind Sicknick and Freeze, so it's just a different form and train. You'll have to do all the hard work once again.
Got a feel for our pole sitter here today around Spain. However, up in front, KDB seemingly on the charge and closing in on Envy.
Yeah, if these two can work together and pull away, I think they have a good shot here today, especially given how things have turned out in the past lap and a half or so. And KDB this time around 6 tenths away with DRS. I don't think that's close enough just yet to make a move into turn 1. Or is he? He's getting close, but that's not close enough. I think maybe one more lap, maybe with a bit more battery usage, he might just go for it. Freeze and Sicknick here into turn 1 once again. Sicknick bravely defends the inside, now takes back the P3 away. He wants to be the one being the carrot in front of the carriage, and he is still carrying Freeze into the front too. But look at that, just behind them, Levi Tiger Pants. I think he's driving with some anger here, and he's getting pretty close to this front too.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one driver out there who's motivated right now in this race, it's definitely Levi. Around the outside, almost led by the likes of Freeze. Clearly, Freeze recognizing it might not be his race to race up against Levi, but that pace coming through from Levi, pulling off half a second's gap as Sicknick goes almost completely off track after riding those curbs, almost inviting Levi Tiger Pants for this battle. How much longer before Sicknick cannot fight this driver off?
It's probably only half a lap, Sarthak, because Levi is now within 3 tenths, and that means DRS will be enabled for him, and he might just be able to drag them back up to the top 2. Speaking of which, KDB now pulls out of slipstream with DRS on the inside, makes a safe and sound move to take that race lead, and now finally KDB retakes the race lead from Envy into turn 1 in lap number 9.
Yeah, but Envy's not gone too far behind, hasn't he? He's still 2 tenths. He's almost getting alongside. Weaves to the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the track. Tries to attempt to move. Peeks down the inside. Couldn't get it. Stays, tucks behind KDB's slipstream. And is going to stay there. Not too far behind. This is similar to what KDB was. In what kind of position KDB was last lap. So I expect Envy to pull off a similar move as KDB did on the main straight on lap number 10. Of course, Levi Tiger Pants has made the pass on to Sicknick and is up in a P3, back into the podium positions.
Yeah, and Sicknick doing his absolute best here, draining his battery to stay within the DRS zone, the juicy DRS zone. These hard tires are only going to get better from here on out. Lap 8, lap 9, I think this is where the medium tires might start to drop off just a little bit here, and Sicknick might find it easier to stay along them. But no, as you can see, the gap is floating between 9 tenths to 1 second here, and Sicknick manages to stay within DRS for just a little longer now.
Yeah, on the main straight, he's going to be losing time, if anything, but up in front is for the race lead. Envy up in a P1 as expected. Once again, similar move to what KDB pulled off, but KDB is not going anywhere. He's right there, right behind Envy, tucked into the slipstream as Envy was on KDB last lap. So these two trading blows, trading positions lap after lap so far in the last 3 laps. And it's anyone's guess how much longer this is going to go on for. On the ERS front, Envy with the advantage, and KDB might just be thinking how to play this out on the next couple of laps. 3-second time penalty for Sicknick, who's been running P4 on the hard tires.
Yeah, and that's not exactly what you want to be picking up around here. It's just about pushing all he could to stay within the DRS zone. So, you can't blame him for taking the risk here, especially with the opportunity that has been presented here. Levi now pulling them along, and he's gained about 3/10 in the last sector or so, but Signer gets a big snap of OC coming out of turn 10 there, and he's going to lose the DRS, after all that track limits that he picked up for no reason. And now Freeze seemingly staying within DRS. Big Man Joe has found a bit of composure in these closing stages of his first stint and comes close to DRS zone, but not close enough just yet. Up in front once again, KDB and Envy trying to go for the position swaps here. I think, they should just get a move on, pull ahead, because look what that is doing to the gap behind to Levi Tiger, but it's coming down even quicker now.
Yeah, you don't want that to unravel the way it is, but up in front, Sicknick and Freeze getting almost level pegging. Freeze getting ambitious, sees Sicknick at a disadvantage down the inside, might just get alongside him this time around, but no, has to concede and stay right behind, tucked behind that Red Bull Racing car. And this is a fight for the midfield. Let's not forget Sicknick with that time penalty, but on lap number 11, seems like Freeze would love track position.
Exactly. If Freeze would get the track position here, I think he'll be able to do quite a bit of work as well to stay ahead with Levi Tiger Pants. But saying that the 2 seconds gap, I think that's not exactly something you can contend with right now, especially with the harder tires. But being on the mediums in the second stint later on, he could do some work.
Yeah, surely enough. It's only lap number 11.
I thought I lost you for a moment.
Yeah, no, I'm right
here.
here.
You're back. All right, all right.
I've been here, right here, and KDB's been right there, right behind Envy. Almost peaks down the inside, but tucks right behind his slipstream at the end of that straight. So clearly smart on his part, but Freeze gets the job done. However, onto Sicknick into turn 1. He's up into P4. Picks off Sicknick pretty well, but Sicknick's not going down without a fight. He's coming back for it. He's stuck right behind Freeze and wants to get alongside him into the next corner. He's going to stay wheel to wheel into sector 1 they go, and what a show of racing between these two. Despite that penalty, it's not taking anything away from Sicknick. He's back up in a P4.
Exactly, and draining battery, well, not exactly the smartest move. Not something I'll teach my students, but there you go. On-track battle, I guess, takes precedence here, and he's going for the show. A Big Man Joe, okay, just for a moment, I thought he was going for a lunge there on turn 9. He gets pretty close to Freeze on the exit, on the inside. Can he lunge it here into turn 10? No, thinks better of it. Stays just behind for another corner.
Yeah, we've got a DRS train in the midfield, folks, and it is between Sicknick, Freeze, and Big Man Joe. Mr. Wex too far behind, and seemingly Levi Tiger Pants too far ahead. So these three is going to be interesting, and Big Man Joe shoots straight into the pits pretty quickly as well. So he'll be switching from that soft tires onto, what do you reckon, Dalvin? Hards?
I'd say a set of hards here to go till the end. That might just be the sensible play. Get the undercut on this driver's head and probably get into clear air. Set your own pace. Maybe that's what he's going for. And there you go. Hard tires as confirmation here. He will be coming out plumb last, I want to say. Or just ahead of Honing here on the exit. Yeah, there you go. So he comes out in P9 in clean air. Envy up in front. Naughty picks up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, looky.
Oh, a smirk on the face of KDB for sure after looking at that. Pressured him enough, forced him into a mistake, ensuring an opportunity arises, but is another opportunity arising right in front of him. He's not been too far off, and we've been talking about this for a while now. For the last 6 laps or so, or even 5 laps, KDB and Envy have been trading positions for the race lead itself, both on the same set of tires, and Levi Tiger Pants, having been involved in that incident, is coming back for what's his, and what's his, in his regard, is a position up in front. Of course, he's got a 5-second gap to close in on.
Yeah, and that is going to be a little harder to catch up here, especially with how the tires might just be dropping off towards the end of the stint here. But one thing that might help here is these two up in front, KDB and Envy, just trading blows here left and right, just losing all that extra 10-2 advantage that they had, and Levi Tigerman's managing to stay within that 5-second window for now. Sicknick though has been falling further and further behind. Freeze staying with him just for now, so I wonder how long further before Sicknick decides to jump into the pits and get rid of these hard tires.
Possibly not too long. And how much longer will KDB stay tucked right behind Envy? that gap continues to be the way it is. But Freeze, similar gap to Sicknick, as you pointed out. Unfortunate to see some of these drivers open up quite larger gaps at the back of the pack. I'd love to see Mr. Wex and Gus battle it out. I'd like to see Leroy Jenkins bring his best to the likes of the midfield as well. Unfortunate that we don't get to see it, but not a rare sight, is it, David? It is Spain after all.
Yeah, and there you go. Envy jumps into the pits, quite late jump there. So that is going to be an undercut attempt by Envy on KDB in attempt to get clear of him by 3 seconds probably. And KDB now, as you can see, into turn 1 here. Oops, so I accidentally hit escape here. KDB with all his battery now pushing to negate that undercut by Envy. Sicknick now inherit speed 2. Well, I'd say inherit speed 2 now. Freeze takes away that P2 away from Sicknick into turn 1. Once again, they're just trading positions left, right and center. Mr. Wex up into P4, clear for now. Envy comes back out in clean air. Would you look at that?
Yeah, without a doubt. Something to watch out for Mr. KDB. But sector 1 seemingly turning yellow. I wonder what's wrong there. Regardless, two drivers who are closest, of course, were going through that same sector. It was Freeze and Sicknick, and they did have quite the battle momentarily. Freeze finds himself up in a P2. Unusual strategy, if I may say. Leroy Jenkins, 14 laps on the sauce. Would you look at that, Dalvin?
Yeah, once again, I think that's a bold way of taking the soft so long. They might just pop anytime here, but that might be helping him to pull off a medium stint right after this. And into turn 1. Oh no, look at that. That's not what you want to have. KDB, I think he might have tried to go into the pits. He's back onto the track. He might have just hit the bump on the entry. And unfortunately, that means he'll have to carry on for another lap here. Overcut attempt ruined here for KDB. That is going to set him back a lot further into the race.
Yeah, he'll probably be kicking himself real hard right now. Nevertheless, it's the halfway mark of the race, somewhat of the halfway mark of the race. So he's got the remaining part of this race to make up for, if anything. But the two drivers closest to each other is Sicknick and Freeze right behind him. Unfortunate for KDB, 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane for someone like Leroy Jenkins, who finds himself in the pits.
Yeah, there you go. Mr. Wax lets Envy pass here, knowing that it's not his race here. So Envy gets a free pass here, back up into P4. I was just watching at the gaps between the leader before the pit lane happened. 21 seconds was the gap between KDB and Envy, but now it's gone all the way down to 13 seconds. So KDB has lost 8 seconds from all that kerfuffle, from staying out one extra lap and also getting involved in that, well, pit wall incident. He's going to be losing position. He's going to be coming out right around Big Man Joe here in P8. So this is going to be tight. KDB now, second time around, makes it in the pit, safe and sound. And he is going to be, well, performing his pit stop here. Oh, that's a yellow. That's a yellow in turn 3. It looks like, oh no, that not turn 3, my bad. That is the pit entry. And that is Freeze, who has actually been in the pit lane and brings out a full safety car.
Oh my word.
Wow!
You could
How things have turned in the pit faces.
Yeah, who would have thought? Going into the pits of all places, we'd see whatever unravel. Freeze with the change of front wing, and what you mentioned pretty early on into qualifying actually unraveled right in front of our eyes.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Now Big Man Joe, in an attempt to get fresher tires, now picks up a 5-second time penalty into the pit lane as well. So that is probably going to be another pit stop from him, I'd suppose, right after this. Sicknick out in front, who stayed out on those hard tires on 16 laps. He just missed the pit entry, looks like it, and he's right behind the safety car now. So he's going to be set back all the way to the back of the grid, looks like it, because you're traveling in Delta behind the safety car, and I think he might have just reacted a little too late here. KDB, I think he's got lucky here. Freeze has just saved his bacon, and KDB is out in P2 on fresh tires. Envy on fresh tires in medium tires here though, to go till the end. So once again, it's a question of who can hold on to these tires much longer at the end.
Yeah, and with the safety car out, probably opportunity for some, considering some of them in the midfield at the very least are on fresh set of medium tires. How many moves can you make at the safety car restart? Who's going to be caught snoozing? Who's going to make up time, who's going to have some damage limitation done. Of course, Sicknig leads this race. He's got time penalties to his name, and as I say that, he heads straight into the pits after 16 laps on the hards. I think the safety car actually handed him the short end of the stick, don't you think, Davin?
Yeah, definitely the shortest stick of all, probably. Safety car, usually it's your savior here, right around here, and if you have the harder tires to start on, not for Signic though, so I think he'll be pretty bummed after that incident. But one saving grace though for him, he'll be on the freshest medium tires of all the lot in front of him. Comes out in P7. Leroy up ahead has a set of mediums. Big Man Joe has a 5-second time penalty to contend with, so that is going to be a position or two that he could pick off at the start.
Yep, just might be able to pull it off. But of course, much like any other safety car restart, no one can predict anything, as you'd imagine. So maybe folks watching can predict any kind of predictions they might just have in their pockets. Sorry about that.
No prediction just yet. However, UK is just asking for all sorts of information to pass on to his rivals on the track here. Pretty sure you can find that on somewhere, sir.
That I didn't want to bring it up, but that just might warrant a penalty from what I remember last time out. Similar drivers and race engineers coming by and asking for information like that. They did get handed a penalty, didn't they, Davin?
That happens from time to time, I suppose. Misusing the information and whatnot. But yeah, I think putting that aside, we will probably have a last 15 laps or so dictated by the tires. If more than anything, ERS will play a factor here. If you have enough, you could probably stay on track for a little longer, defend a bit harder, attack a bit harder. Yeah, tire difference, and it's gonna come down close at the very end here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how close it all gets. KDB, our race leader, on a fresh set of hards with about 5 cars with fresh set of mediums behind him. How soon before he loses that race lead, and how soon before chaos unravels, if anything, up in front. We're on lap number 19, folks. It's the Bwoah Racing League Season 7. It's race number 5 around the infamous circuit at Spain. We got KDB leading this race. Leroy Jenkins down in P7. Levi Tigerpants started on pole position, finds himself down in P4. And we've got our safety car after an incident with Freeze heading into the pits, losing his front wing at the pit entry. And we will be go for racing at the end of this lap, I reckon.
Yeah, and one to watch out for on the restart, I'd say put your money on Gouts here, on the soft tires here. It can go the distance till the end of lap 33 here, but yeah, he'll have to make quite a bit of work here on the first 2 or 3 laps to get past all these medium and hard runners ahead of him, get some track positions early on, and hang on to someone's DRS for dear life.
Yeah, I'm hoping the midfield drivers can capitalize on this current situation with the safety car, and hopefully we get to see battles come out. But as the cars come out of sector 2, we've got race control giving us the nod, safety car in this lap, and KDB will be dictating the pace heading into sector 3.
Oh, hard tires on the restart. It's not ideal, I'll definitely say that. However, if he can get these tires fired up in a lap or two, he'll be in a good position here and probably trading blows with NB once again come lap 21 or 22 when DRS gets enabled here. So all to watch out for on the restart here. Medium runners will be strong. KDB might have the edge towards the end of the stint, but it's all to play for here as KDB says, let's go. Gets a good getaway, but not too good though, because Envy is right behind him in his slipstream. Will he go for the move? Looks like he's not getting enough.
Yeah, at the back, Levi Tigerpants now around the outside of Mr. Wex and makes it look too easy into turn 1. Up in a P3 he goes in the Williams.
Beautiful there around the outside, and I think Mr. Vex might have realized as well it's not his race here.
For the lead.
He is immediately have to defend from Freeze up in front here. KDB, NV, and now Levi Tigerpants sneaks on the outside. Can it go around the outside of turn 5 here? Looks like he might just runs out of space, but no, gets the traction down, gets up into P2. Now next up for him is Envy. Once again, we're back to how it looked like at the start of the race.
Yeah, much similar sights on the standings from Mr. Vex, however, up into P4. He'll be happy about that. In the midfield, not much has changed apart from that move coming through from Levi Tiger Pants. I'm surprised none of the drivers capitalized at the safety car restart. Big Man Joe, however, up into P5. I think he was down in P7 or so at the safety car restart. Trading positions at the back of the pack is Gauss and Horning. Seemingly Gauss completely off pace. Not the best of races for him. And he's losing time more and more to Horning and is heading into the pits.
Into the pits. Something might have happened there. Maybe a spin, a collision here. Lost the wing. I have no idea what's happening here.
Up in front.
Is bugging out.
Yeah, but up in front in the midfield, Big Man Joe picks off Mr. Vex. Up in a P4 he goes. And Envy is trying to come back at Levi Tiger Pants for the race lead. Now in Sector 1, we've seen two drivers stay as close as these two are so far. A mere 2 tenths between the two. But we've not seen moves in this part of the track just yet. We've seen them tuck right behind each other's slipstreams and head on to make the pass on the following lap. But will Envy dare pull off a move in Sector 2 is one I'd like to see happen, but we might just not get.
Well, they better get a move on early on, because as long as they have these medium tires here, they're going to be having some pace advantage over KDB, who's seemingly just about hanging on here within a second or so. The gap is kind of floating there, and he's going to lose DRS. It will be enabled at the end of this lap, and they'll be able to use it come the middle sector once again. KDB just doing as much as he could to stay within the DRS for now. Levi Tiger Pants now has to defend against Envy. Will he go for an attack here, Envy? No, he is getting close. He's gaining in the slipstream though. Pulls out of the slipstream, cools down the engine, does not go for the move just yet.
Yeah, he's going to stay behind Levi that much longer. But at the back of the pack, seemingly, is a move being made. Horning making that climb through the back. Picked off Gouts, now picked off Leroy Jenkins. And he finds himself up in a P8. Mind you, every position awards points in the Bwoah Racing League. Not only till P10, but beyond as well. Unfortunately, we don't have a full racing grid, but each position counts. And Horning knows that. He's passed by 2 cars so far, and he'll be looking to close that gap to Sickning.
Yeah, exactly. And Sickning himself is starting to catch up to this train for the fight for P1, which is just separated by Mr. Wax just a little bit here. And I don't know, it's getting pretty tight here up in front. Envy and Levi Tiger Pants almost there, made collision from what I saw into turn 10, but just managing to avoid it. And this has brought back KDB back in contention for the race win here with DRS. Now KDB is seemingly, I think he's fired up his hard tires here, and he's within 6 tenths here. Big Man Joe behind him is struggling to keep up in relation to KDB now.
And here comes Envy down the inside into turn 1. Picks off Levi Tiger Pants, but we've seen this once before. Levi Tiger Pants not going to go down without a fight. Stays well within range of Envy. Will he get alongside him in Sector 1? Might just peeks down the inside. Has to back off, concede position after all. And is going to stay P2.
Yeah, exactly. This is the situation I was talking about. The top 2 are fighting, going side by side, losing time. And all the while, KDB on those hard tires, he was struggling early on, but now he's fired them up, and he is able to stay close within a second and even half a second at some time. You can see into the middle sector here, quite comfortably flat on the hard tires at the end of this stint. And Big Man Joe as well has now joined the fight for this race lead. However, just a reminder here, time penalties may dictate the finishing positions after all. Envy in P1 with 3-second time penalty. Big Man Joe in P5, in P4 with those 5-second penalty. How much will that be costly at the end?
Yeah, without a doubt. And down in the midfield, we've got a DRS train forming between Mr. Wax Freeze and Sicknig. They're within a second of each other, within half a second of each other on the main straight. 2 of them have DRS. Who's going to be the sitting duck? It might just be Mr. Wax into turn 1 well before in turn 1. Freeze makes the move down the inside. Here comes Sicknig. Will he be audacious enough? No, he's going to back off. Play the game of time itself. And he's going to wait it out, as Mr. Wax might just be able to close in on Freeze perhaps and keep that gap within half a second.
Ooh, a little bit spicy there. I think Signic might have outbroken himself, almost ran into the back of Mr. Vex here. Nevertheless, stays still within the half second, 1 second sweet spot. And yeah, Freeze, he might have to do some work here to pull this lot around back up to Big Man Joe and rejoin the train for the lead.
Yeah, back to Wex, however. Mr. Wex closing in on Freeze once again. Down the inside, he's peeking. Has to back off through the exits of Sector 2. It is a bit too ambitious of him to pull a move or even attempt to pull a move through that part of the track. But into Sector 3.
Here? Envy. There's some trouble for him.
Into the pits.
Like he might have just hit a wall or something here and he's diving straight into the pits. So that's him out of the race lead here immediately. And Big Man Joe immediately does not waste any time on the back of Levi Tiger Pants. Oh, just tactically lifting off here and saving a bit of battery there for sure.
That was KDB and I was on board him, and it almost looked like he was going to go straight into the back of Levi Tiger Pants. Into Sector 1, however, awfully close as you'd imagine. Two drivers fighting for the lead would be. Levi Tiger Pants holding on to his race lead pretty well so far.
Well, I did put out a challenge to KDB today to win the race or he'll be called a G word. Looks like he's trying to prove me wrong and he's trying to win the race, in one way or another. And, it's turning out as the laps go on, these hearts are only going to get better. So he looks like in prime position here to steal the race win away. Big Man Joe still just taking his time here. He's still burning his battery, not exactly on pace right now.
Levi goes wide for a moment. As I cut you off, apologies there, Dalvin, but it did seem almost like opportunity for KDB, which he seemingly did not take, or he's pretty happy staying P2 for now on those hard tires.
Yeah, I think KDB is just playing the smart game here, and he's even turning on and off his DRS just to make it easy on the pass. He doesn't want to be pushing too hard, and yeah, into the lead he goes. Can he pull away now? That's the question.
Yeah, stellar move as you'd imagine into turn 1 of all places. That's the part of the track we've seen the most moves.
Oh no, Levi has tapped him around.
No!
Levi has tapped Big KDB around, and that is Big Man Joe through into P2. And Levi, I think he might be lifting off to return the position. No, he's not lifting, he's going on, and KDB might just be furious with that.
Oh, unfortunate to see that unravel the way it did, but KDB finds himself down 3 seconds now to the front 2. Big Man Joe might just have a smile on his face after an unfortunate incident with Levi Tiger Pants. He finds himself once again behind Levi Tiger Pants. I mean, 2/10 between these two who came together into turn 1 a few laps ago, quite a few laps ago. We are on lap number 26, folks, and it's anyone's guess how this race is going to end.
Yeah, and just about 2 to 3 laps, everything has turned around. Envy's just had a half spin or something somewhere. Big Man Joe finally, back into the race lead contention here. KDB is being tapped around by Levi, and here comes Signic on Freeze into turn 1, well ahead before turn 1. He gets the P4 away from him, and there you go. So, nicely as you like it, and it's almost within a second of KDB as well. So this might not be over just yet, folks. The fight for P3 is still on.
Still on indeed. Freeze not going down without a fight either. Mr. Wex not too far behind. What's to say we don't get a 6-way battle for the race lead at some point in this race? Probably a bit too ambitious for me as a commentator, considering a humongous gap of just over 3 seconds. Who would have thought I'd call 3 seconds gap humongous? But it is up in front, and we've got merely 6 laps left in this race.
Exactly. Now as things are starting to sort of settle down just a little bit into the closing stages here with 5 laps or so to go, and we can see that this is where it might just be the crunch time where drivers will be starting to think about the last 2 laps, how much battery they'll need for the last 2 laps to defend or attack. Will Big Man Joe play that game, relax just a little bit longer behind Levi Tiger Pants? Levi is pushing to keep his lead, and KDB doesn't seem to be catching up any quickly either.
Yeah, how this race is gonna unravel, who knows?
Let's hold the thought once again. Signic and Priest now once again into turn 1. Here's Priest went around the outside. Signic hold the inside line, and there he gets the inside for turn 3 and keeps the P3 the P4 for now. And Freeze looks like he wanted to pick on the inside of turn 4. Thinks better of it and stays back for another lap.
Yeah, the more battles unravel up in front, it invites some of the drivers running behind. Mr. Wex closes in. A mere 3 tenths to 2 tenths gap to Freeze. He's going to be patiently waiting and watching Sicknick and Freeze battle it out. He'll be looking to pick off a position if the opportunity presents itself. But right now, as it stands, Sicknick leading this DRS train charge. ERS almost being activated and probably wanted to make an aggressive move there by Mr. Wex, but his rear kicked out quite a bit into that back straight. 3-second time penalty for Horning, who's been making the strides at the back of the pack.
Yeah, P7, good position for him though. So that, Leroy behind him has a 5-second penalty, so he's not going to be slugging that hard. But yeah, riding on board with KDB just there, coming out of the last corner. I think KDB here has some troubles, maybe with his car here, maybe some damage, maybe just some frustration setting in.
Freeze,
he's losing a bit of
Sicknick.
time here. Freeze and Sicknick once again.
Okay, anyway, Mr. Wex was closing in on Freeze and Sicknick. It almost seemed like they were a mere 10th away from each other. And it still remains the same, 2 tenths. On the main straight, they get as close as they can, these 3 cars. But seemingly they're pretty happy in the positions they're staying. All 3 within on the same set of tires, barring Sicknick on a lap younger in terms of tire age itself. And back up in front, however, Levi Tiger Pants and Big Man Joe, the gap is opening up quite a bit. It's almost a second now between the two.
Yeah, and Levi is just managing to keep ahead. Although I'll say his red light is flashing, Big Man Joe can see that. So that's going to mean that Levi is going to be losing a lot of power down this straight here. And KDB has been falling further and further behind. 5 seconds is the gap. I don't think he's going to be close enough. Even if there's further 5-second penalties applied to these races for any incidents. So yeah, he needs to get a move on. Back to P4 though. Sicknick now coming on the pit straight here. Has a comfortable gap here. Free. He's hit the DRS. Closes in into turn 1, but he's still far off to make a move.
Yeah, Wex has fallen back quite a bit. Unfortunate to see he doesn't have the pace to stay within range of Freeze and Sicknick. But this battle in the midfield continues between these two heavyweights in the Bwoah Racing League. They've been competing since the very beginning of the Bwoah Racing League, if anything. And even though they might not have won a championship, they have won quite a bit of races to each's credit. Up in front, however, almost 2 recent race winners are battling it out for the race lead, I'd like to say, but that gap has been the way it has been for a while now. Recharging his batteries, Levi Tiger Pants in the race lead. We've got about 3 laps of racing left, folks, and Levi Tiger Pants is leading this race, having started on pole position.
Yeah, I wouldn't call 11% or so to be recharging. He is slowly running out of juice, and Big Man Joe is reeling him in on the straights here, losing a lot of time in the corners though. So that's going to be the trade-off, like I said, downforce versus top speed. And there's yellow in the middle sector towards the last sector. That is Honing, who is, well, he's just letting Andy by safe and soundly.
The smart stuff. But the way I see it, Levi Tiger Pants, he exhausted his ERS on the main straight there, throwing Big Man Joe out of DRS. Was that the plan all along? Was Levi Tiger Pants' plan to deny this DRS to Big Man Joe, considering he is saving a bit of ERS, deny Big Man Joe of attempting a possible last lap move? Of course, let's not forget, he could possibly close in with his own ERS, but maybe staying out of DRS is what you want your opponent to be.
Yeah, you're precisely right there, whatever you want to call it. I'm starting to focus more on the battles than the on-track penalties here, or on-track happenings here, because maybe, just maybe, that DRS is worth quite a big amount here. 4 tenths, 5 tenths on the straight alone, and Big Man Joe now without the DRS has fallen further 5 tenths behind in the middle sector alone. So he is dropping further and further behind, falling into the clutches of KDB, who seems to be, finding a bit of groove in the last stages, the closing stages here, to regain that P2 away from Big Man Joe, thanks to Big Man Joe's 5-second time penalty.
Yeah, we're on the penultimate lap and we see Vex making the move on to Freeze. What's happened there? I wonder, as Freeze has lost momentum and fallen down to P6. Wex will have a smile on his face. I'm sure this is the penultimate lap, folks. And we see Wex up in a P5 after not so great races in the last two occasions. Issues with internet and whatnot. And up in front, Big Man Joe, a mere 10th between himself and the third step of the podium itself. Consider KDB a 10th away from guaranteeing P2.
Yeah, and with just about a lap and a bit to go, this is getting pretty close. And Levi Tiger Pants up ahead though. I'm pretty sure he would love to pull off a 5-second gap as well in case anything gets reported against him at the end. But that looks like just about doable right now. We still have a battle here between Freeze and Mr. Wax, which is still raging on. Mr. Wax gets a little loosey-goosey out of turn 12 here. Now into the last two corners here. Freeze picks up a 3-second time penalty. And that is going to be giving a big smile on Mr. Wax here. But he's not holding back on the last lap here. Last opportunity. Mr. Freeze. Freeze around the outside of Mr. Wax into turn 1. Takes the position away. Nice and easy as you like it into turn 1.
Yeah, Wex is not going to mind that. As it stands, it looks like Wex might just be able to get not one, but two positions jump and find himself up in a P4, considering Sicknick has that 3-second time penalty. And who's that? That's Gouts in Sector 3 having an issue of sorts. It's not been the stellar of races for Gouts in Spain today, and he's going to start his final lap. Unfortunate for him, but things have turned around for some of the drivers out on track, and one of them is Mr. Wex.
Exactly. And while that is still...
Oh, okay. Forgive me for my gasp, Dalvin. But the rear of Levi Tiger Pants kicked out quite a bit. And for a moment, I thought we were going to get a shocker of a race result, at least on track. But as he comes along the final corner, it's Levi Tiger Pants. That's 2 for 2 for the man in blue. He wins the Spanish GP of the Bwoah Racing League Season 7. And what a way to win it he did, despite falling down the order, despite that incident with Big Man Joe. He is on the top step of the podium. Big Man Joe finishes, despite having that 5-second time penalty, on the podium in P2. Doesn't fall short to KDB, who finishes P3. There you go, folks. That is your podium.
Yeah, and let's just give a round of applause to Mr. Wax itself. P4 on his, well, I'd say on a good return to racing. Once in a while, like you say, internet's good, everything's good. He's made it good. He's made a good performance here. P4 for him, picking off Sicknick and Freeze by virtue of track limit penalties as well, and keeping it clean throughout the race, not bumping into anyone. Sicknick comes in P5, Freeze in P6, Horning, Leroy Jenkins. There you go. Everyone else, I think we're happy to have a no DNF race for today.
Yeah, surely enough. And Levi Tiger Pants start on pole, finish with a race win, and pick off driver of the day with that charge after the incident itself. It's what you love to see. A good day of racing, if anything, as we head on to the podium itself. Whoa.
Yeah, and while podium is going on, I'm seeing, wow, Gouts picks off the fastest lap of the race today with a 13.6, edging out the likes of Envy, Levi Tiger Pants, and everyone else just by over 4 tenths here. So well done to him as well. I think that's one extra point into the constructors for the Ferrari team,
who he's single-handedly carrying pretty much. He does not have a teammate. But folks watching, you know, if you ever reckon that you want to get behind a controller or a sim racing wheel, hell, even a keyboard, as UK did it back in the old days, good old fashioned mouse and keyboard, not mouse but just the keyboard itself, around tracks like these, you can jump into our Discord to compete up against all these 10 drivers you see on our screens. 1 minute 13.681, the fastest lap time coming out from Gouts. Quite the lap, I'd say.
Exactly. There you go. That is a race around the Spanish GP. Wonderful to be back here on this track as always. And I think next weekend we're going to have a little more headaches with the walls around the track. We are heading to the Monaco Grand Prix, Sarthak.
I'm excited.
I can't wait to you know, commentate over that. The qualifying is going to be amazing to see drivers push it to the limits. The race, however, it's always a snooze fest. But in league racing, as we all know, anything can happen. And as we saw today, everything and anything that could have happened had happened.
I'm going to go ahead and say, no, it's not going to be a snooze fest. Historically, at least in the Bwoah Racing League, it's rained in Monaco. You've been there for a few as well, if you remember. And I'd like to think rain is going to come down once again this season. Drivers aren't going to like me for it, of course. But despite that, it's going to be interesting. The next 3 races, in fact, not just Monaco. We're going to go to Belgium. We're going to go to another interesting track I enjoy getting behind the mic for, and I'm pretty sure you do too. So, Davin, I think with that we can wrap up the comms box for the day. Of course, a little bit of work to do on how it appears in front of y'all folks. But we'll be back again next weekend for race number 6 of the Bwoah Racing League Season 7. So don't go anywhere. And Davin, I'll see you again next weekend.
Yeah, cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.